Good evening. I'm Matt Gutman in for Tony DeCopel. Breaking tonight.
We're going to hit them again hard today, in case you miss it, in case you don't turn on your television set.
For the second night in a row, the U.S. striking Iran, with President Trump saying it's time they pay the price. Here at home, it's American consumers paying a steep price, with inflation hitting a 3-year high.
Repeat after me.
Our series, Affordability in America and the Age of the Side Hustle. More than 70% of public school teachers now working a second job.
Well, here I do breakfast duty and lunch duty. I tutor after school, and then I work at Cheesecake Factory.
Breaking tonight, more than 100 million Americans under severe weather alerts. Tornadoes ripping across the Midwest, and now the threat of hail, flash floods, high winds, and triple-digit heat. Also developing monster waves slamming the California coast, churning up danger for swimmers. The new warnings tonight and the desperate search for a girl swept out to sea. A blessing from Pope Leo and a major milestone for what is now the tallest church in the world. But not everyone is singing its praises. And World Cup fever. Soccer stars from around the globe, the American favorites they're discovering, plus why this super fan is walking thousands of miles for his team.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
We begin with the war in the Middle East and the impacts on your money. President Trump losing patience with Iran today and launching new attacks tonight, saying it's time for the regime to pay a price. A marked change in tone for the president, who over the past couple of months has said a deal with Iran is close a couple of dozen times. That sent U.S. stocks falling, with all 3 major indices down by more than 1.5%. A tough day for 401ks also came with this economic news. Inflation hit a 3-year high in May, with consumer prices rising 4.2% from a year ago as the war continued to drive up fuel prices. We'll dig deeper into those numbers in just a moment, but let's get to the late developments in the war now from our Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Ed, good evening.
Matt, good evening. CBS News has learned tonight targets include key military facilities like ammunition depots and warehouses. The Pentagon says the attacks are in response to Iran's, quote, unwarranted and continued aggression.
We hit them hard yesterday, and we're going to hit them again hard today.
President Trump's warning this morning came in the wake of Monday night's takedown of an Apache helicopter by an Iranian drone. The 2 U.S. service members on board were rescued safely.
We actually have the bomb. Got very lucky that bomb didn't explode. That bomb was lodged in the helicopter. It didn't explode. It was on fire, but it didn't explode. Those 2 guys, they knew how to fly, but they got very lucky.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth reviewed war plans at Central Command in Tampa today.
Those strikes that'll happen tonight will be strong.
Last night, the U.S. hit air defenses and radar sites along the Strait of Hormuz. Iran responded by firing missiles towards U.S. bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. The foreign minister calling on the U.S. to leave our region. For months, Trump has promised peace and threatened all-out war, while giving clashing answers on how long the conflict will last.
We projected 4 to 5 weeks.
It'll be as long as it's necessary.
So we're giving it 5 days? I think we're 2 or 3 weeks. 3 weeks, if it is. We'll leave.
Today, he blamed Iran for drawing out the war.
We were really close to a deal, but they keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers.
The U.S. continues to enforce its blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, last night disabling a tanker with a missile to the engine room that left 1 dead and 2 missing. Soaring energy prices because of the strait's closure sent monthly inflation figures to their worst level in 3 years. The president was asked if he's concerned.
No, I love it. The numbers were great.
That answer puzzled Democrats.
It's pretty bizarre. You know, the fact is, he does not get it.
All of this just rattles everybody's confidence in the United States, and it rattles the global economy, and it imposes massive costs on American families.
Tonight, CBS News has learned it was an armed Iranian drone that struck and took down the Apache helicopter on Monday night. Again, both service members aboard survived. Matt?
All right, Ed, help us make sense of this. This ceasefire has been on life support for weeks. We've seen multiple attacks on either side with multiple counterstrikes. So to many, it seems like we are at war. So what is the actual red line for the president beyond which we are back at war?
Well, there may in fact be two answers to that question. In recent days, the president said he would resume military operations, quote, if I think I wasn't going to make a deal fast enough. But he's also said he'd resume fighting if Iran kills American troops. The service members on board the Apache helicopter survived, but the president and defense secretary again today signaled frustration with Iran's pace of negotiations. So unclear tonight if this is indeed the end of talks and the resumption of hostilities. Matt?
Ed, thank you. More now on the highest inflation we've seen since April 2023. Let's bring in Money Watch correspondent and CBS Saturday Morning co-anchor Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, you've reported that the rise in energy prices as a result of the war is driving this inflation, but you're saying that that actually has a silver lining.
I know. If you're a consumer, you're probably saying, wait, what? But there was a little bit of good news in this report. So you're right. Energy drove most of this. Over the past year, gas prices rose over 40%. In the month of May alone, 7%. But when you strip out food and energy, prices only rose 0.2% in the month of May. That's actually pretty good. And so what that tells me is that the inflation that we're seeing is localized to energy right now, and it hasn't seeped into the rest of the economy yet. And that is some good news.
Okay, the administration continues to say that the economy is thriving, and then consumers say they are feeling the pinch. So what's the disconnect here?
So look, inflation is nowhere near where we saw it at 9% in the summer of 2022, okay, but there is a sense of two economies here. If you are a high-income earner, if you are able to participate in the stock market, you're doing well. But if you're a low or middle-income earner, you are feeling crunched. And the reason is your paycheck is not growing as much as prices. So wages in the last year rose 3.4%. Prices rose 4.2%. And over the last 5 years, it's been the same story. And that's why people are feeling behind.
Kelly O'Grady with the insight, as always. Thank you very much. More breaking news now. An outbreak of dangerous weather in the central U.S. Reports of tornadoes touching down in Missouri, all part of a multi-day severe storm threat now widening to more than 100 million Americans. In addition to tornadoes, forecasters are looking out for hail, storms, damaging winds, and temperatures for many soaring into the triple digits. The forecast in a moment. The latest now from our Tom Hansen.
Powerful winds, heavy rain, and lightning rolled through Iowa today as a severe storm system is taking aim at the Great Lakes. The weather even forcing school officials in Des Moines to close several free summer meal sites. Reports of tornadoes touching down in cities like Mercer, Missouri.
It was sunny and beautiful 20 minutes ago. That is the storm moving in, and like you can start to see clouds. Like they're moving so fast.
70-mile-per-hour winds and marble-sized hail were seen in Wisconsin, where severe thunderstorm watches are still in effect. The storm damaging several buildings in downtown Horicon. Meanwhile, this EarthCam view shows storm clouds about to unleash on Chicago. Farther east, cars waded through flooding in Pennsylvania. This as thousands remain without power tonight in Minnesota and Kansas after violent storms left trails of destruction.
And that nasty weather is headed to the Northeast next. It's already having an impact on air travel with thousands of delays and hundreds of cancellations, according to FlightAware, Matt.
Tom, thanks. Let's get the forecast now. CBS's Lonnie Quinn is tracking it all tonight from Central Park. What are you seeing out there, Lonnie?
Well, right now in Central Park, Matt, I'm seeing a lot of folks enjoying the park. You know, there's cloud cover overhead. Could be some rain tonight, but it's not the severe stuff. The severe weather. Let's go to the maps. It is in the Midwest. You talk about Missouri, Iowa already having tornadoes that have touched down. That line will be pushing to the east as we go into tomorrow. And look at this. The threat for tornadoes tomorrow actually includes the big city of Chicago. Meanwhile, there's a secondary low ahead of this, putting down severe possibilities in places like Virginia up into southern New England. By the time we get to Friday, it's anywhere from Roanoke up to Burlington, where you could have those damaging winds and hail. It's all fueled by big-time heat and big-time humidity. So you look at the temperature. New York City tomorrow, maybe, 89, 90 degrees, but it feels like 99. It feels like 104 in Philadelphia. It feels like 107 in St. Louis. Meanwhile, out west, it has nothing to do with humidity. It's just so hot. It's so dry. Red flag warnings in effect from portions of the Rocky Mountains into portions of California. Whether your area is shaded in pink or not, tomorrow, if you're thinking of lighting a barbecue in those areas, please just be real careful with an open flame because the fire could start like this. Matt, it's all yours.
Wise words from Lonnie. Thank you. And near 50-foot swells at sea are generating waves that have been pummeling the California coast, some as high as 20 feet. A thrill for surfers, but a danger to swimmers. One wave and rip current so strong, a family of 3 was swept out into the ocean. Jonathan Vigliotti now on the desperate search for a missing girl.
Rescue teams are battling swirling and dangerous surf, searching for a young girl swept away in Orange County last night. The girl's family was walking on the sand when a wave and strong rip currents carried them out. Her mother and sibling were rescued. Waves off of Southern California have reached up to 20 feet. The swells are so powerful that it took 4 people to rescue a boogie boarder caught in the powerful tide, all as high temperatures bring large crowds to the coast.
Are you seeing an uptick in the number of beachgoers and an uptick in rescues?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Los Angeles County lifeguard Pono Barnes says it's easy to underestimate the potential danger.
Knee-deep water that gives that false sense of security, but really blender-like conditions and all of that froth.
Yeah.
And in that, I mean, I could see how disorienting it could be, not just for the swimmers that think they're capable, but also for rescuers, lifeguards.
Yeah, but there's not just like a button that you can get ejected out of the water. You got to make your way back through all those scary conditions.
Along this Orange County beach, you can see how little sand separates the waves from the rocks. What looks mesmerizing and spectacular from above can be treacherous and deadly.
It just goes to show how much force is being applied to the human body, paired with, maybe a little bit of disorientation from getting, put through the spin cycle. Even the people that can handle those conditions like that sometimes can find themselves in a scenario where they'll need rescue.
And rip currents are a threat coast to coast. Officials say families should focus on beaches with lifeguards and should speak to them about any potential hazards before entering the water mat.
We sure hope that little girl is found safe. Jonathan, thank you. To Capitol Hill now, and closed-door testimony today from one of the richest men in the world, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. His name popped up hundreds of times in those recently unsealed documents in the so-called Epstein files, leading investigators in Congress to bring him in today to ask about his ties to the late convicted sex offender. Gates telling lawmakers he never saw Epstein engage in criminal conduct. More now from CBS's Nicole Killian.
Today, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates faced nearly 6 hours of questioning about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
I hope my testimony is helpful to the important work of the committee to find justice for the victims.
Gates, whose name and photos appear hundreds of times in the Epstein files, said he never victimized anyone. But he claimed after he cut ties with the convicted sex offender, Epstein discovered Gates had extramarital affairs and, quote, was working to use information about my infidelities to pressure me to re-engage with him.
It does appear that his extramarital affairs were not associated with Jeffrey Epstein, but he also is claiming in there that Epstein was aware of them and therefore may have exploited them as a form of blackmail against Mr. Gates.
Gates' association with Epstein was a factor in his divorce from his wife Melinda French Gates in 2021. Epstein's former executive assistant Leslie Groff testified Tuesday that she scheduled Epstein's massages but was unaware of his crimes.
That's hard to believe that she never suspected anything, but that's what she testified.
Gates' interview comes as the New York Times reports that the White House was freaked out about the release of the Epstein files and sought ways to contain any potential fallout. A White House spokesperson says the president has been, quote, totally exonerated. Matt?
Okay, Nicole, thank you very much. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, our series Affordability in America, the growing number of U.S. workers with a second job, including more than 70% of public school teachers. And Pope Leo christening the world's tallest cathedral this day, more than 140 years in the making. More now on the economy and a troubling trend. Over a third of U.S. workers now hold multiple jobs just to keep going, according to a recent survey by ZipRecruiter. Tonight, our Meg Oliver shows us how many school teachers are working side hustles as we continue our series, Affordability in America.
On the ground was a little bag of gold.
From the time she was a child, Christine Riegel knew she wanted to be a teacher.
I just love working with kids. I love the kids. I mean, I've been teaching for 26 years and I still remain in contact with a lot.
But that devotion to her craft in Plainfield, New Jersey requires quite a few side hustles to pay the bills.
Well, here I do breakfast duty and lunch duty. I tutor after school, and then I work at Cheesecake Factory.
1 in 5 K-12 teachers report struggling financially, with 71% of U.S. public school teachers working at least one one additional job.
Where are you getting hit the hardest?
Oh, gosh, I'm getting hit everywhere. Like just this past weekend, it cost me $70 to put gas in my car. 70. Last night I went grocery shopping, 2 bags of groceries, $160. That's where I'm getting hit. Repeat after me. Swipe. Swipe.
When school lets out for the summer, Regal will continue waitressing for extra cash. She also has to budget for school supplies. She usually spends up to $1,500 of her own money to supplement her classroom.
Are you budgeting differently so you're able to afford that next year?
Luckily, I have a co-teacher where we split everything, but I know she's feeling a hit herself, and we've already had conversations like we're gonna have to probably take it easy, especially with her because she just has a new baby.
So now what does your retirement look like?
I'm gonna just keep hustling and just keep putting money away, and then pray that when I hit 60 that things will be a lot different.
For now, the single 54-year-old will have to keep hustling for at least 6 more years. Meg Oliver, CBS News, Plainfield, New Jersey.
And up next, a tour boat crew answers the Coast Guard's call for help. The precious passenger they rescued at sea. A shocking police chase video was released by the Jacksonville, Florida sheriff. Dashcam video shows a suspected drunk driver barreling through an Ironman race in May, narrowly missing a biker, and then he just keeps going. Officers tried to pull the man over several times, and on the 3rd try, they finally stop the car and arrest the driver. The crew of a sightseeing boat spotted something unexpected off the coast of England this week.
Hello, buddy. Hey, buddy. How are you?
And that is Bruce, a German Shepherd who drifted 2 miles after his inflatable kayak was blown out to sea. The crew heard a Coast Guard alert and joined the search, and Bruce now is okay and back home with his owners. Pope Leo today led a massive celebration of the world's tallest church in Barcelona, Spain. Crowds lined the streets to see Leo bless Sagrada Familia's highest tower, topped with a glass and enamel cross, and just finished in February. A light show honored the basilica's designer, Antoni Gaudi, who died 100 years ago today. And fireworks capped off the night, but not all are celebrating. As construction expands in its 144th year, neighboring residents say their homes may be knocked down to make room. And up next, soccer fans around the globe get ready to cheer on their team in the Men's World Cup. The excitement is building. The Men's World Cup soccer tournament kicks off tomorrow in Mexico City with matches in the U.S. and Canada on Friday. Every 4 years, the tournament brings together soccer fans from around the globe for the biggest moment in the beautiful game, and the excitement is real.
That's the U.S. men's national team arriving in California straight into World Cup fever. Soccer is the other universal language, spoken in electrifying shots, the roar of diehards, and the cheerleading of a Cleveland police officer, revving up a crowd of Egyptian fans. In Mexico, where the first match kicks off tomorrow, mariachi bands greeted players with sombreros. The president there has canceled school in Mexico City, and that's just the beginning of the global fanfare. The Ghana team welcomed here with a drum band. And in Germany, this saxophonist got the party jumping. And in the U.S., his compatriot, a German named Freddie, has documented his tour of American cultural icons, Waffle House and Buc-ee's rest stops. Germany has won 4 Men's World Cups, Scotland 0. Craig Ferguson, walking across the country, wants that to change.
When people take note of there's a man out walking in a kilt and then they stop and ask why, yeah, people are very, very sort of friendly.
Hold on, I think you buried the lead here. You're walking in a kilt?
I'm walking every single step in the kilt. It's the symbol of Scottish pride.
He's walking to raise awareness for men's mental health. But if by some chance his walk helps notch a win for the Scots, that'd be great too.
I'm very, very hopeful that this year our fortunes are going to change.
Is the World Cup something that brings everybody together?
I really think that football is the universal language of the world.
So we'll say good luck to all the teams. That's the CBS Evening News for this Wednesday. For Tony DeCopo, I'm Matt Gutman. Good night. See you tomorrow.